Hi all, this video is inspired by Love is Blind season 6 shown on Netflix, and I wanted to particularly focus on AD. Since the beginning of this season of Love is Blind, AD has been the constant topic of discussion till now, and bear in mind the season has ended and the reunion has passed, and AD is still the topic of discussion. So I just wanted to talk about some of the things that we can learn from AD from when she was on the show, and also some things that we should not learn, or I guess some lessons that we should take from her experience. So I'll start off with what we can learn from AD. So the first thing that we can learn from her is how well she has maintained her physical appearance, as well as being a beautiful, unambiguous, dark-skinned black woman. She has an undeniable great figure, and you can tell she has worked for it. Although probably genetics do play a part in it too. I don't want to discredit her work. So you can tell from her pictures online that she has definitely maintained her figure very well over the years. And I assume her being an NFL cheerleader has got a lot to do with that keep up and that maintenance. And you can tell that this was also appreciated by other cast members, because that was one of the most frequent compliments that AD got. And I think one of the reasons why that is because being fit, healthy, and having a great figure shows that you are a disciplined and well-organized person. Not many people work out and actually stick to a workout routine for a prolonged amount of time, which makes those who do stick to a workout routine and work out consistently, they end up being the ones that stick out the most. Another thing that I noticed with AD that we can take away from her is that she hasn't shied away from wearing bright colored clothing. And I think that is really poignant, especially since she is a dark-skinned black woman. We all know that bright colors look amazing on our skin tones. And I love that she didn't shy away from wearing the blues and the oranges and the pinks. And I've seen a few people mention that her style could do some work, some improvement. But again, I think in terms of the color palette, she did pretty well in terms of choosing specific colors that looked great on her skin tone. And I think that is something that dark-skinned women should definitely lean into if you're already not leaning into it, but also other women as well, to figure out your color palette that goes with your skin tone and as well as your undertones, and then just warp your wardrobe around that. I think that's a great tip. So she clearly knows what looks good on her, huh? And I also just taking away from the physical appearance, I think one of the things that made AD stick out is her sweet and feminine demeanor. When she talked to men and women, so regardless of gender, in the pods and outside of the pods, her tone was usually very calm, very cheerful, and this goes against the stereotype about black women being loud and aggressive and being unable to behave, especially on TV. And you could tell that majority of the time she was always like either smiling or laughing. And of course, the audience only gets to see the edited parts of the episode. And from what you could tell throughout the season, the other cast members seemed to enjoy her presence, and she seemed to get along with them too very well. And you can even tell this from just her diverse fan base. Like if you go look on Instagram or TikTok and you look in the comment section and all the people who claiming to cheer her on, like it's not just like black women who are doing it, but it's like women of all races and all backgrounds. And I think that leans into her relatability factor, where she she as a person, also her experience on Love is Blind, is quite relatable for many women, and it transcends backgrounds, colors, race. I also like that she was able to maintain her composure in situations where she would have justifiably, went off the handle if she wanted to. Like, for instance, there were times where Clay raised her voice at her and or made some off-putting comments, or even like the situation with the whole bean chip. Guess like Jeremy found it as a joke. Of course, like it was pretty tasteless. So there were times where it could have gone off, but she didn't. And I like that she remained calm and composed. And I also think that while she did that, she was also very good at showing vulnerability as well. She was able to show her emotions, and I'm glad that it wasn't weaponized against her by the public and other cast members, because that is something that can happen, especially when it comes to Black women. Their feelings, their emotions can get weaponized against them. So with AD, it didn't happen. So I'm glad that was the case. Another thing that I think we can learn from AD is that now that she's outside of the pod and she's no longer in the show and the show has ended, she has used the thing that she's gained from the show to get her social media brand deals and help her real estate business. And I love to see that she was able to leverage the fame. I think she knew that she was the season's favorite, of this particular season's favorite. I'm glad that she played into it. And she's also been able to leverage the hate too that she's gotten. And now she's making money, like a lot more money. Like you can see on her Instagram that she has quite a few brand deals. Like her agency or whoever is behind her in terms of like management are doing their thing. And I love that. And I love that she was smart in doing so. Now, onto the things that we can learn from AD. I think one of the main things is in regards to Clay. Specifically, her relationship with Clay has stirred quite a bit of controversy. And in my opinion, she can do way better than Clay. I think that she doesn't know that she deserves a whole lot better. As soon as they were out of the pods, you could get an inkling that Clay was unsure about her. Or better yet, later on, he was sure that she wasn't for him. Yet AD still stuck around for whatever reason. And I think maybe the reason is because it's the validation, the male validation, and she actually did like him. And I guess she also desired to have that, Black love story. But we could see later on the show that was pretty one-sided, because Clay didn't seem to want her validation as much as AD wanted his validation. And I'm pretty inclined to think that she's actually not his physical type. And I don't know, maybe it's when they came out of the pods and they did the whole engagement thing. His face didn't light up as I would have expected him to light up when you see someone who you think is like extremely attractive. But then again, it was like a completely different new experience for both of them. So everyone reacts differently to different situations. When Clay left AD at the altar, I think that he actually did her a favor by not marrying her, because she was risking being the come-up wife that unfortunately, many unambiguous Black women become and then get dumped for the man's actual preference. That is something that typically happens when you are the come-up wife. You help the man up and then you essentially help him gain the money that he needs to be able to get with his actual preference. One thing I think that AD should have done, that we should do, is take what men say at face value. So when Clay said that he's afraid of losing her or hurting her, that should have rang a massive bell in AD's head. And I remember in that particular episode when they were having that conversation, you could tell that she was like, what do you mean by that? But I think that she should have seen it as like a massive red flag, because that's him essentially saying the equivalent of when guys say, you're too good for me. And if that's the case, that's a clear indication that they think that they're punching above their weight. And in the same conversation, Clay said that he is not sure about settling down with just one woman due to having seen the men in his life, like his father, cheat throughout his whole relationship with his mother. And I can see how the two are correlated, but it also shows that Clay hasn't worked through his past trauma, and he does need to do some healing. Otherwise, there's a high chance that he could do the same thing later on, as the same thing as his forefathers did, and repeat the same generational patterns, which are destructive. Another thing that AD did that we shouldn't do is go for the bad boys and go for the players. And I'm sure most women have been there, done that, or some women are still in that phase. And it's not just AD, but ladies, avoid these men like the plague. From what I've noticed is that women like these bad boys and these players because they like to be chased, or rather they want to be the ones doing the chasing. The thought of getting someone to grow to like them who wouldn't have paid attention otherwise seems to excite women quite a lot. And again, we've all been there, but it never leads to anything good for us, especially for us heterosexual women. It's not bad to want male validation and attention, because again, if you're attracted to men, that's a natural thing, but it shouldn't be to the point where you're harming yourself and losing your absolute mind and common sense. And I think women have a hard time accepting the fact that you can't change men, nor can you force them to like you as much as you like them. And if you try to, that is a recipe for disaster, my lovelies. So ladies, don't waste your time dating a man who hasn't shown a clear indication of wanting to pursue you with all their might, and aren't showing you that they are actually attracted to you as well. I do think also the topic of keeping your options open definitely is relatable to the AD situation in Love is Blind. With AD, I think she did well in the beginning to not stay closed off, and she did explore some other connections like she did with Matthew. But you could tell that as soon as she told Clay about her Matthew situation, Clay clearly got upset. And I think she went into a fight or flight mode where she decided there and then that she would be with Clay, and Clay was the one for her because she didn't want to lose him. In those instances, we still shouldn't put all our energy into one person until they have proven that they want to be exclusive with us. But could argue that AD had the most chemistry with Clay compared to the other men that she talked to. So that is all I have for today. All in all, I think that AD was great on the show. She was great representation for unambiguous dark-skinned black women, and she carried herself very well. And she did have her moments, but we can take those moments as learning lessons, because of course there are many women like her and in her situation. It just teaches us to really improve your self-esteem, and I hope that she does too. So in the future, she can pick better and men that actually want to be with her. But that is all I have for today. What do you all think about season 6, Love is Blind? Also, comment down below what your opinions are about AD and Clay's relationship. All right, see you in the next one.